Great afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this very special first Influence session of the year, and it's the franchise edition. So we've created a great panel for you all to watch today, and if you're not watching live, then unfortunately you'll miss out on asking some really great questions to some really great panelists who really know what they're talking about when it comes to their franchise industry. So I'm going to start by introducing the panel who's already here. We've got Anoop Anchal, who's the Content Director of YOSM. Anoop, would you mind introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Hi guys, good to be here today. So what I basically do is scour through as much information as I can and try to deliver the right type of content that actually gets you guys to help build your influence, helps you build your rapport, and also make it effectively easier for you to close a sale as well. So pretty much I've got a great job in just scouring content, delivering in a way that it can sit with you guys to actually increase sales and increase and build rapport.
Thanks, Anoop. And Suzanne, who is the CEO of DC Strategy based in Sydney. They're Australia's leading franchise law firm, but you do so much else more than on top of that, Suzanne. So welcome to your first Google Hangout on Air. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you, Emma. It's delightful to be here. Actually, I must jump straight in and say that DC Strategy isn't just a law firm. We're actually the only end-to-end firm in the franchise space in Australia. So we're actually a consultancy. We have a whole bunch of pointy heads who've got MBAs and are consultants in the commercial space. We have a law firm because that's also a very important part of building a sustainable franchise. We have a recruitment arm so that we can find our franchisors excellent franchisees to fit and grow their network. And we have a brand marketing and online division because, of course, today you can't do business without understanding the importance of capturing market share, developing brand authority, and, of course, integral to that is your online presence. So that's DC Strategy. I'm lucky enough to be the CEO of the multidisciplinary team here, and we're based in a number of capital cities where we meet the needs of growing a number of our franchise clients. Most of them start with a tiny business and we grow them to an international presence as a franchise network.
Excellent. Well, you certainly have everything covered when it comes to franchising, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you today as to your thoughts on the topic at hand. Now, we've got Tony Gleeson, who has a very special topic to talk about today. He's done some amazing research, which we'll focus on in a minute. Welcome, Tony. Tony's the CEO of Victoria Australian Institute of Management. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your role, Tony?
Thank you, Emma. As you said, I lead the operations here in Victoria, Tasmania for the Australian Institute of Management. We have some 25,000 members somewhere around Australia. We provide a variety of educational activities through to short courses, certification programs, right through to the AIM MBA, which is available for various people. In addition to that, nationally, I lead the effort around thought leadership, research and advocacy for the Institute.
Excellent, and you have done some amazing research, so I'm looking forward to presenting that really soon. Now, the reason why we've put together a monthly influence session for the franchise industry this year is because we've sort of developed a community, haven't we, within Australia and abroad of people who support the franchise industry, so we decided to give it its own influence session once a month this year. So make sure you check it out at youronlinesalesmanager.com. Now, the reason why we're here today is, one, to hear from you guys who are watching live. So if you are watching live, please put in your details in the text box just below, and if you do have any questions or comments, please type them in there and we're more than happy to share them with the panel and ask the questions that you really want to know. Now, some of the things that we're going to bring up today are, there's some harsh realities that we've discovered through both our research and the Victorian AIM research, which kind of astounded us, didn't it, Anoop?
Yeah, it was quite shocking.
Yes, like we had an idea of expectations for the results, but yeah, it was quite shocking to what we discovered. And then we met Tony, who his research showed a very similar picture. So we don't want to make this a bad session. We really want to come out of this session with some good outcomes and some strategies for you guys to implement easily and effectively, which will be picked up quite quickly. So to deliver our research first, we set out at the about August last year and interviewed a whole range of franchise groups, and we actually went through their recruitment sales process. Now, some of the numbers that came out of that were not good, to be quite frank, but some of the numbers were this. Only 39% responded within 48 hours from a website inquiry. Only 19% of those people who did call actually asked qualifying questions of the person inquiring. 24% had a satisfactory product knowledge and could answer those questions satisfactorily. 13% could answer return on investment questions, and that's something that you're really passionate about, Anoop. And only 10% closed to the next level. Now, that's not closing the sale, that's just closing to the next level and having a follow-up plan which is demonstrated to the client. So they were very, very interesting. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on those results, Anoop.
What was really interesting was that the follow-up was insane. In this environment that we're working in, we've got people out there who are screaming and saying, I can't make my budgets, I can't make my targets. Yet only 39% actually followed through, and that was just an insane stat to me. And that was within 48 hours. And it didn't happen after that either. So, and then also having the fact that only 10% actually had the ability, or 13% had the ability to ask qualifying questions was also shocking. So they are the people that called us, only about 13% of them actually had the ability to ask a question and even know about their product knowledge. Now, I'm one to understand that you may not give your ROI results or be able to talk about ROI from a franchise perspective, but you need to have the ability to articulate yourself to at least set up the next conversation. So yeah, to me, this was quite astounding that I found there was a lack of product knowledge and there was a lack of ability to ask engaging questions to really find out why somebody.
What I found really interesting when reviewing the results was that the franchise groups that had a small investment, so under 25,000, their sales process, they got 10 times more results and followed an actual process than the franchise groups that had, say, $250,000 to $500,000 investment, which is really interesting.
Yeah, well, a bigger amount, you'd think that there would be a bit more of a sophisticated process, and it wasn't. So.
But then again, those sort of businesses may not get the same amount of inquiries, so they may not have tweaked their process as well as the groups who have a smaller process, a smaller investment level. Now we've just lost Tony, so I'm going to shoot over to Suzanne. And Suzanne, if you could unmute yourself and tell us your thoughts on these results.
Look, it is shocking, but I guess the wonderful thing is that it presents us all with a huge opportunity to start upskilling our people and to create a greater understanding about the decision criteria. Certainly, we run a recruitment firm, and we have a very specialised process that does meet a number of criteria along the way in order to bring people into the fold at the end, if they are indeed the people we want. And interestingly, I know that as we go through this series, we too have conducted some research in conjunction with one of your panelists who has not yet joined us, Ray Fernandez from Franchise Business. They too have an excellent database which we mined last year. And it's interesting, research from a totally different perspective tends to show us a very similar picture. So I think you're right. We've got some huge challenges here, and one of the things I look forward to through the course of the franchise section over the next month to come is the ways that we can look at, for franchisors, refining the understanding of their product, understanding who they're actually targeting. I think this is one of the most important things, developing a profile of your target client, because there's an inquiry, if it doesn't go anywhere, maybe because you're actually not inquiring in the right kinds of places, or the people who are responding to you are not the people you actually want. So we're very happy to talk a lot more about what the profile, what the qualifications, what the criteria, and indeed what the decision criteria on the part of your respondents is, so that we can create a better connect going forward.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that we noticed, Suzanne, is that qualifying criteria is so important to a sales process, and it just unfortunately wasn't being done by the majority. So it sounds like from what your firm does with the recruitment side of things, you have that very solid process, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. It's in fact where we start. We use a workshop process, which is about a half a day, and we have a number of methodologies which are copyrighted to our firm, and that's how we determine that. We actually look at the profile of the people we're looking for, the qualification criteria. So we've got a very clear picture in our mind when we go out to market, and our potential recruits have a very clear picture in mind in terms of why they want to continue to engage with us. And I think that's probably the beginning of any kind of communication, or the starting point of any relationship is what's each party expecting out of this. From internet dating through to recruitment to any other kind of transaction on the planet, we both have to have a clear understanding of our expectation and to be able to articulate in a way that both parties are clear as that process proceeds.
One thing I want to ask Suzanne is, because there was such a distinct difference in the level of in the smaller investment franchise groups and their recruitment process and the larger investment franchise groups, do you change your sales process and recruitment process depending on the size of the investment, or do you keep it the same across the board?
Actually, our determining criteria is the nature of the business. So we have 4 areas of qualification. Obviously, financial is a no-brainer, but a lot of people stop right there. If you've got the check and you've got a pulse, you're in. We have 3 more areas. Many of our franchises are around the professional services or trade services, where some type of skill set or professional qualification in that area is an obvious requirement as well. But you'll also look in skills and experience around how, with training and induction and support, how well would this person fit this business in terms of the skills and experience they currently have. But for us, psychological profiling is also very important. Profiling around the franchise, the nature of the franchise relationship to begin with, which is based very much on a 2-tiered system. It's not a democracy. It's not a collegial relationship. It is very much around the franchisor and their responsibility and their role, and the franchisee, who is educated to understand that compliance to the system, both the franchise agreement and the operations and procedures that go with that, are fundamental to their success. And finally, a culture fit. You know, whether you're running a gym or a poodle parlor or childcare or a bakery, you're expecting your franchisees are going to bring at least some measure of the passion and commitment to your industry that you yourself bring. So that's part of our process. But just to return to that part about the size of the investment, there is no doubt that the take-up for franchises under 100,000 and those in various increments going right up to, we have clients whose entry point establishment costs around 3.4 million, you're targeting different people. And risk profile, the assessment of risk and the containment of that risk is actually fundamental to the entire process of franchising. Why people enter franchises to begin with, obviously to reduce risk about failure in business, and the size of that investment is very much tied up with the perception of risk.